Hello, everybody, and welcome back. I have a question before we actually go into the thing. I didn't ask this on break, so I was going to ask everybody. And I don't know if you guys drink like auto drip coffee or like cafe americano. I don't. So in American style coffee, which I know is throughout the world now, but like the garbage coffee that we drink here, bean juice. There's usually on a coffee pot setting for regular or strong. You click a button, and in theory, it makes the coffee stronger. My query is, what does the coffee pot do to make the coffee stronger? Oh,
probably less ratio of more water to beans for less strong, and then less water to beans for more strength, I'd imagine.
So, well, I mean, because if you put, let's call it 12 cups of water, right? Let's say you put 12 cups of water in there. I know it's a funny measurement for you, but it's going to use the same amount of water no matter what. Like, it's going to take the area that holds water and dump it into the area that holds coffee.
Might strain it for longer, maybe, if it takes a little longer to make.
Like slower?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let more of it ease in, filter into it.
Yeah. Because, I mean, and the funny thing is this, I'm not saying compresses the coffee, but the thing is, like, it literally, like, the way it works is, like, it has, like, a spigot that hovers over the powdered beans, right? Like, the grinds. And it just drips onto it. And then the beans fill up with water, and it goes into a filter so the grinds don't get into your actual coffee. And it bleeds through the filter into another little filter spigot thingy that then fills up your actual coffee pot. So maybe it must be maybe what you're saying.
A little while,
yeah,
in the beans. Yeah,
yeah, probably just does it enough that it saturates the beans more. All I know is there's a button that you press. It says stronger, and I don't ever notice a difference. So I don't know.
Oh, there you go. Effectively the water drip rate is slowed, to keep the rate that the water can go into the ground slower.
Yeah, I don't notice a difference.
I've never used one of those weird coffee, like the one where you've got like a jug of just like.
Yep.
And it's like, can I top up your coffee? Oh, it's so American. So American.
Well, I mean, don't get me wrong. I like espresso too, but I also espresso's too quick. It's like, oh, I'm done. No. So it's kind of like your sex life, Neil. You know what I mean? It's one of those, like, it's good, but like it's just too quick.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter because it's done, but it's way more enjoyable than that slow, tiny drip.
You know what? I feel like they got turned around on me.
Yeah.
I feel like I lost that.
Yeah.
Like you have that, and it's like, great, okay, that was that. It lasted a while, I guess. You have the espresso, and you're like, wow, and it resonates within you.
Oh God, it's making me think of a scene from a movie that I'd rather not. God, it's so funny. He breathes like a
but
dog.
no way is right. Like you water it down, or you add milk or something.
That's how I
changed
espresso. The thing.
You don't just get straight to the espresso. You add something to get you there.
Well, I mean, I usually, like, if I'm drinking espresso, unless I'm having a latte or a cappuccino, I usually just have espresso. You just go.
I don't know enough about the different types of
like
coffee. All I know is that
or a cortado.
Coffee, like my parents have a proper coffee machine, which I do not have.
What's a proper coffee machine?
I don't think it's a drip thing, but you make a cup at a time, not like anything more.
It'll be like a pre-pod thing.
Not a pod thing, but they actually put the coffee grounds in and stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So like they sell those here too, where it's the same idea as the auto drip, except instead of a jug of coffee, it's just an individual cup at a time. You know what I mean? Which is nice and all, but I drink a jug of coffee, so you know.
But... here it's also much more common to have milk with your coffee.
A lot of people drink milk with their coffee here. We demonize them.
One of the things that this does is it.
There's a lot of people that you demonize that you shouldn't have there, Scott.
I'm sorry, you're interrupting Tesh.
Really nice.
What was that?
While the machine is making the coffee, you can steam the milk with the steam that's coming out of it. It's really cool.
Okay, so we sell those here too. Now I'm curious as to what you're referring to as coffee. If it's like, again, the auto drip version, or if it's like the espresso version. But yeah, the idea is that they have both of those machines you can get at like a Target, where it steams the milk for you, and
It's not a. I don't know if it's.
It'll be an
drip.
espresso because it
Interesting
grinds
to
the
look.
beans. So it'll grind the beans.
well, the question is, because you grind beans either way. The question is if the way that the grounds are put in there, and you might not know this that well if you don't use the machine. If
Yeah,
it's
that's the
actually
thing, I might
if it
have
like
to do it.
locks into the place, the beans have to lock into place because it's actually literally dealing with pressure versus nothing gets locked into place because it's just moving wetness.
No, things are locked into place. So
Okay, yeah, that's
closes up.
espresso. That you're making legit
Okay,
coffee.
cool.
That's like the good stuff. We have an
Yeah, no,
espresso
it's
machine.
good.
We have an espresso machine here, but it's not like a good one. It's one of those like Mr. Coffee is the brand, and it's like $130, and it shits the bed after like 6 years, and you're like, well, it didn't make good enough. It didn't make it that good, but you know, it made it. So
Yeah, I've got a machine that's pod. You put a pod in, it makes the coffee. It's okay. It's better than whatever that drip fed drug.
no, that's worse. That's instant coffee.
no.
Instant coffee is way worse.
No,
It's not
there
instant
are
coffee.
some. At least here, there are
'Cause
some.
it's an espresso-
pod-based
it's
ones
an-
that
it's
are
like-
far
it's
better.
like
Freshly ground coffee.
The Nespresso machine sort of a thing.
There are ones like that here.
They're better
that
than the
are
drip fed.
Actually, good quality.
What? Do you really think the drip fed is better?
I've had
I
those,
don't-
Neil.
I don't know about
The
America.
drip fed, Scott.
but
You're just
here
dropping
we
like
have
any old
good
temperature
ones.
water down on this coffee.
Yep. But I grind my beans fresh, so it's going to be better than whatever freeze-dried garbage you have put inside of an airtight seal.
Right? Yeah. But if I actually want a nice coffee,
Mhm.
then I grind my beans and then I put it on in the mocha.
So you have like
Yeah.
an empty pod thing that you can fill up yourself.
No. I have a mocha and a bean grinder.
What's a mocker?
It's like a little chamber for water that goes on a stove.
Oh, yes.
Whatever.
Okay, the
Yeah.
classic way. That's good too. If you don't
that's,
screw it
that's
up.
if I
If you don't
that's
screw it
if I
up.
want a nice coffee.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's it's
um,
only small, so I can only make an espresso.
I was going to
Gotcha.
say that there are brands here that do the pod thing and do make really, really good coffee with it. And the advantage of that is being able to choose from a variety of flavors, opposed to just having like whatever a couple of different coffee flavors sort of thing. So it's much more expensive, and I can't afford that. But it is a thing.
one day when I'm old and rich and classified as a boomer by whatever is the younger generation, I will have a proper coffee machine.
You already are.
I'm not a boomer.
If you walk by a high school, they would call you a boomer.
They would not.
All right, you already
If I walked
graduated
by
uni,
high
right?
school, that would be it.
You
Like, nothing would
graduated
happen.
uni, right? So like you have like first and second years at uni, you'd be like, oh, look at that boomer. Come back to visit your glory days, boomer? Yep. Sorry, welcome to my life.
I can't make jokes about what would happen if you walked past a school in America, but
Oh.
Duck.
Oh.
All right, let's get down to business. Let's get serious.
let's get down to business.
Putting the games away.
Da-da.
That was
Let-
good. I enjoyed that.
Let's go. You guys are traveling south. You're heading by Forvin, to get there. The whole area has been kind of explored out, and for most of the travel, you can actually bring Nathan with you to see to it that you are, well guarded. On your way getting down to Forvin, it is the two of you. Are you bringing anybody else with you?
Should we bring the Grand Diplomat?
Yeah. I suppose boy needs to redeem himself.
You're on probation. You have to do well.
The name of the name is the name. While they're thinking, you should look back at what my brother Will said about Australian pizza. So, I don't know.
Yeah, but I seriously have questions because the pizza I had in America was not that good.
No, I've heard from people that have been to America that our pizza is fucking shit.
I don't know.
Oh, okay. Maybe it's over there. Maybe it's Adelaide.
My favorite pizza, my wife makes. So, not going to find that in
Yeah.
a store.
My mum makes really good pizza. Actually, I make really good pizza as well, to be fair. because it's my mum's recipe.
Knowing a recipe and pulling it off are two different things, of course. But are you bringing anybody with you or no?
I think we'll bring the Grand Diplomat because the little boy needs to redeem himself after getting his body slapped by those goblins.
Okay. Well, you did a good job. Swear it. Swear it.
Yeah, sure.
So when you head down to Forvin, of course, you can see that the people down there are... the general's responsibility was to solve the problem. His responsibility was not to bring calm and kindness and whatnot to the area. Not saying that he didn't treat the people well, obviously did. He put them in the forefront, so on and so forth, but he's not exactly walking around and giving speeches and being a leader of this town. His job is to handle the problem at hand and then move on because there's more problems.
He did supply 1 BP of stuff for them, remember?
Yes, but that 1 BP stretches very thin when you're dealing with an entire town of people that are not feeling so good. I mean, you did help, don't get me wrong, but... So when you head down to Forvin, of course, the place is still in disarray. The streets themselves have actually been able to be kept clear by the army that was actively patrolling them and getting rid of the undead. So people are actually able to get back into their homes and are slowly working to rebuild them because there's a lot of damage that was done. But they have been disallowed to fish. They weren't allowed to fish for many days at a time so that they can pull out these undead, kill them, and then weren't allowed to fish for a while and pull them out, kill them, fish for a day, then we weren't allowed to, you know what I mean? So it's one of those things where they're kind of struggling. They're not doing well in general, and they're having to just get by on ends meet at best. So when your characters come rolling into the place, you can see that the morale of this place is shattered. The place is effectively an anarchy. You're pretty sure you even witnessed at one point in time whether or not your characters interject a different conversation. Imagine they would. You're actually pretty sure you witnessed literally one person mugging another to take what they need and running off. It's one of those situations where everybody's just doing what they can to survive. You can call it a crime-ridden city if you want, but it's more just people on do not die mode. You know what I mean? It's sad. Considering what Forvin was in the past, even though your characters I don't think really ever went there, and what they had to offer, it is a broken place now. How much do your characters interact with it when you get there? Is it more or less, let's just handle the undead, we have other tasks at hand? Or do you divert your attention to the place too?
If there are any key buildings that need repairing, I can help. It only takes 10 minutes at a time with the materials around. I could cast Make Whole and help fix the building sort of thing. Can you bloop that into chat for me real quick, just so I could see it? It's one of my favorite spells. Yeah, you're the one that convinced me to get it. It's a very good spell. Oh, why have I got spell failure happening? It's arcane spell failure. Well, are you wearing armor? Are you wearing armor? Yeah, but
it's not arcane.
Yeah. There's no spell check for divine casters.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. You just turn that off. So it's on your character sheet. When you go to configuration, there's an SF on the far right-hand side of your class. Over where your spellcasting is, uncheck that mark. Oh, okay. Let me just ping it again, see if it worked. Yep, sweet. Cool. So anyways, your caster level is actually 5. I don't know why it's only doing 1d6 right there. It should be rolling 5d6 for you, but that's fine. Let me have a look. I will spend 2 seconds checking this out and then back to the actual game at hand. Oh, it's written 1d6 per level is written in the thing. Oh, really? That sounds like a poorly written spell. Yeah, no, it's let me see if I can you just have to copy it off of some of the other spells that have that. Yeah, in the effect area, one of those others that have. Oh, it's max 5d6 anyway, so I'll just put 5d6. That works. Perfect. Cool. Moving on. With that spell, you're actually able to do a considerable amount of work on the broken structures. You're good. There we go. a considerable amount of work on the broken structures. You're able to do an incredible amount of repair, and because you can cast this how many times a day?
7.
I mean, 7 important structures are able to be repaired. This is, as for which important structures those are, that's actually a really good question. Why don't we actually have you do me a favor, sir? I'm going to have you make me a check, an advisor check task really quickly for handling how well you do the situation. Now, the DC is actually very much modified for the fact that you have this spell to greatly impact how much you're able to help them. So we're going to switch over for, this is going to be a loyalty check. This is going to be for you, which is ruler. And I'm actually going to give you a focus because you're using a spell that's going to be able to assist this. Why is focus in... Why is that not applying for you? Give me 1 second. I'm so sorry. If I chose Royal Enforcer and I said normal, it applies. Fly, it applies. Focus, it applies. Let's go back to normal. Let's go to, what's your name? Ruler. I press focus. Huh. It doesn't apply for you. Probably because I did not want you guys to be allowed to use focuses. That's why. Okay, never mind. You were going to go ahead and roll me your 1d20 plus 6.
Okay, it's above 10. I'll take it.
So an 18 beats challenging, but does not beat hard. Do you want to modify that, or are you happy with where it stands?
If they're unhappy with us at the moment, this might be a good way to try and get them on our side a bit more.
Sure.
What do you think, Neil?
Sorry, I'm just fiddling with this goddamn Valorant tracker. Yeah, go for it.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So you actually got that up to the 20, which is against a hard DC. More or less, you're able to discern from the people, because Ilan is a very compassionate person. He actually does a really good job of just kind of like reading the people, knowing what they want, and supplying it for them. He's one of them. He literally lived his life as a common person, just living in the streets. So he kind of like understands where they're coming from, and he knows what it's like to live through a rough time and everything. So he can empathize very well. He decides
comforts, the one thing I do know.
It's funny that you say that, because when he discovers which buildings that need to be constructed, the one that maybe would come off as the strangest to somebody like, say, Aurorum, that's like, really? Is that really a top priority right now? But Ilan's kind of like, I get it. It's a place that people have fond memories. It makes them happy. Is a restaurant. There's literally a restaurant that was destroyed and ripped apart from like looting, as well as like the undead and whatnot that came through the area that he reconstructs. But more than just discovering people want to reconstruct the restaurant is the owner of the restaurant. She was a very beloved person in the town. As my phrasing probably hinted at you, she unfortunately did not survive the undead attacks. This place was what to offer like top-notch quality food and so on and so forth, and is where people could go and where many people like celebrated like getting engaged, or where they had like reception to their weddings, where important persons that traveled through the town would go there and have like their important meetings, where movers and shakers would spend their time. It became an integral part of what made Forvin, the culture of Forvin. Because I don't know if you remember or not, but Forvin is a very aggressive fishing place. Thumbs up from Neil, he remembers. Very aggressive fishing place. So they do want to kind of remember the good times. There are a couple of buildings that people request having reconstructed, but you also do discern these are places that maybe, while they're important, maybe don't err towards the positive side of what you guys would like. For instance, one of the buildings that people want recreated is the warehouse and the actual offices of a certain fishing establishment. I believe it's called the Headless Eel, which which, while very important for their economy, was known to work in cahoots with the, head of the city guard or town guard. Does your character choose to reconstruct that place once Rayron warns you of the significance of it, or do you choose not to?
Well, the head of the slave trade is gone now. And if it is important for the economy, it might be a good idea to, as an act of good faith, to rebuild that.
I wonder why it was important for the economy, though.
It was actually very big on fishing as well, but you make a good point.
I'll leave that one up to you. I don't know the situation well enough. I don't know.
Tobacco exports were really important to American economy, but once, labor got a little bit more expensive. Still very important to the American economy. It just very much changed how good it was.
Is there something else we could rebuild that would help the economy as well? Like sort of a different priority sort of thing?
I mean, they're a fishing town, so you could actually just focus on, instead of maybe this one building, which has a huge impact, do multiple buildings for other businesses instead. Almost like your mark on, we do not agree with slave trade. And so you intentionally don't repair that one, instead repair its 3 greatest competitors.
I agree with that.
I think that's a good idea.
It's not going to damage their economy because they're still able to do the fishing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's simply a warning that, hey guys, slavery does not pay.
I think that's a good idea. Yeah.
Okay. And that's a huge statement coming from the nation that literally offed their old leader. Because you're going about it this way, actually, either way, I was going to make you roll something. You did a hard check. You actually did very well, but I still need a loyalty check from you about these people. The DC is different because it's not your nation, but you're rolling with your modifier. 1d20 plus 25.
Plus 25.
Si, senor. Pretty good roll.
Okay. Above 10.
Are you happy with your 37v, the 34 that is your nation? You don't know what their DC is. But again, you're 3 above what your DC is. Hello. How are ya?
What do you think, Neil? He says we're 3 above our
Oi,
DC,
Mrs.
but we don't know what their DC is.
I think the kingdom rolls are the best things to do this on. I think this classifies as a kingdom roll.
Yeah, I think you're right. 50-50. And
Okay.
We had sushi for dinner last night, but I'm not up
the dice
100%
went
up
up
to scratch, so I didn't eat all of it.
Nice.
So now I'm going to stuff my face.
Enjoy the hell out of it. Sir, I'm sorry. When I gave you luck die before, I accidentally, oh, no, never mind. I was going to say I accidentally gave you too many, but never mind. Aklo gave you one a minute ago, so that neutralizes it. Don't do anything. Cool.
Okay, good.
So you go to 38. It's one of those things where while the leader of the, what's it called? The city guard was captured and executed by you guys, the actual leader of this establishment is still alive and still here. He survived the whole thing, so on and so forth. And when you make this like statement against them, you actually notice that while a small number of people, this again during the time that you spend here, while a small number of people are upset about the fact that you did not help the one that's most economically impactful, there's also a much larger number of people that maybe knew what was going on but didn't say anything about it, or once they discovered what was going on, it kind of fell to the background of what the fuck else was going on. They decided to they actually are happy about it. Not too vocal, but vocal enough you hear it. You know what I mean? Which is a good thing.
There's discussion happening.
It'll be like someone in the pub, like, it'll be tough, but it was the right thing to do, and someone else be like,
I guess you're right.
The heart of this town. Shut up, mate.
It's like when you can order a pizza or make one at home. It's like, it's more work, but honestly, it's way more worth it in the end. Anyway, so last question I'd ask for that person who I just mentioned is still alive. Would your characters take any actions against them?
I think that's actually a decent enough statement of, hey, you know why, like, this, you know why we didn't repair that building. If you happen to continue, you know what happens. I don't think we really need to do much more than that. I think that's a fairly
Rowan has a
effective
personal
statement.
vendetta.
I mean, if you want to.
You would. You would. Elliot.
Yeah. He
So-
can't forgive what happened to his friend. He would go and have a word with this.
Okay, in that case, Elena's going to come to make sure someone doesn't die.
We can full on RP it, or I know that you're one eating right now and about to do a big RP down south. We could just put
I
this
don't
to.
mind RPing. I'll go for it.
Sure. Okay. Cool. So yeah, when you go and approach the person, again, they are there and trying to have the building like repaired. This is the 7 spells have already been accomplished. And actually, do you want to do this before or after you handle the issue of Lakeside?
After.
Okay.
I think
think-
after is probably a good idea. 'Cause
Like,
that's a more,
don't get me wrong, he has a personal vendetta, but he also, like, you got to prioritize the reason we're here. Like, what would Elliot do?
Yeah, also to going on the whole, like, talking to him about this would be look better if things go south, if we've already gone and helped the town a lot.
That's true. That's very true. Yeah.
So why don't you go ahead and roll for me, Neil? Not roll for me. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead and roll for me. This is going to be a stability check. Again, this is advisor task going on here. This is outside of your purview as treasurer for what it is that you're handling. So you actually do take a penalty on this this roll, but not a great one. It's just instead of a +6, you get a +5.
I just can't roll above 10.
Apparently not.
For the past, like, 2 weeks, I've not been able to roll above 10 in the 3 D&D games I play.
Do you want to try to luck it? Because you have the potential of getting at least an average roll. If you luck it, it's a 75% chance.
Yeah. This is a curse macro. Can we fix this, please?
Yeah, has it rolled above 1?
You rolled a 2.
Oh, it rolled a
once.
2.
Sorry,
Oh
Neil.
no, it did roll a 3. Okay, but goddamn, how many ones it rolled today?
The DC for you was literally, and I feel bad because I gave you a -1. The DC for you was literally a 12 to 100% resolve the issue. So,
Wait, did my summon? Because remember I discussed I would be summoning the crocodiles. to help.
oh, we did not discuss that on stream. We discussed it off stream, so I forgot. Go ahead, sir.
So yes, I in summon monster. One of the things I can summon is crocodile. That is. Wait, let me bring up the stats again to help. I had the stats and I stupidly closed them. Once again because we discussed it off stream stupidly. So the crocodile it's celestial, and it has 28 health. Bite +7 for 1d8 +6 plus grab, and the idea is they would grab and pull them to where we can fight them.
Yep. So, does that give an additional modifier to the roll? I think it should. I honestly think it should. And so, because he literally was missing it by 1, I will say that with the assistance of this massive crocodile. Now, mind you, make holes a what level spell?
Oh, they're different. Make whole is level 2. Summon monster 3 is level 3.
Perfect. So you're
So I can
actually
do
good to go.
6 of them.
Yep. So you are able to aid him, and through the combination of your efforts in doing this, you are able to definitely clean out the rest of them. If they're not 100% clean, there might be like 1 or 2 lurkers left that people could eventually handle, but you're pretty sure you got rid of all of them. So that being said, the situation has been resolved, and in a spectacular manner. The spectacular part not being of Rayrin, of course. We now have the hero of Forvin being here. So,
Giant crocodile.
Rayrin actually rides into the guy on it. He's like,
They're listed as Celestials as well, so they're all like bright light and everything.
That's how you ride a giant crocodile.
Sebek, yes, I actually love that.
So anyways, yeah, you sir are able to definitely defeat all of them, and then finally, Neil, you're gonna go and discuss it with that guy. So when you go and approach him, he's literally just kind of like leading a few people, doing his task to kind of repair the building that's been broken.
I think Rowan would like lean against a nearby building for a little while, watching this guy, making sure he's got the right guy before he says or does anything. Also, he knows he's visible. He wants to make the guy uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Once he's sure that this is the right guy, like maybe there's a gap in what he's doing, he wants to have a drink from somewhere or something, Rowan would walk up to engage him in conversation.
For that,
Ilan is just with him, by the way. He's just like, you know, that situation where the friend is like there, but like a step back. They're there for like support and help, but they're like, okay.
For that opening, because obviously you're trying to be to a degree intimidating. It's a modified roll, but you can roll me an intimidation check real quick. Hey, he rolled a 10.
I rolled a 10. Woohoo!
Oh my god. It's possible.
All 20s from here, boys.
Double digits.
All right. So you actually are able to kind of like, again, leave a bit of an impression on him, but it's not one of those things where it's like you set a tone, but it's not like he's like, what's going on? I'm concerned. So anyways, yeah, you then finally you go approaching him. So he already knows who you are. He's seen you about town, heard your voice. You guys came through before in the boats, blah, blah, blah. So he didn't know you personally. He's heard from others. And he obviously would have heard by now what had happened down by the lake and definitely what Iliad was doing. Do you have Arthur here with you, or do you have Arthur handling the name of your country elsewhere with other people of like importance?
He wouldn't have brought Arthur for this.
Okay. So you guys go and approach him. Sup, buddy?
I understand that you ran this establishment.
I haven't stopped.
I should hope you have.
Pop this on. It's running in the background.
Do I have to make a saving throw?
I believe so, actually, but I don't think it's the same as the other one where they know.
Each round, concentrate on one target who is in the range. You know if the target is deliberately speaks loud, discerning disturbances caused by...
Oh, maybe it doesn't need a saving throw.
Double check it by reading the actual spell while we're going through it. So just Google it quick. Go ahead, Neil.
It says will negates as a saving throw.
Where?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, at the top. Give me 1 second.
I thought it had a saving throw, yeah. Oh, DC 19, yeah.
Oh, whoa. Okay.
It's a 4th level spell.
I got the first 20, boys.
Oh,
Nice.
fuck. Okay, well, that's fine. That's fair.
I'm gonna clip that and put it into because I want to tease you about it.
What's this about? Ilan has withered arms. Yes, Ilan has withered arms, but they're wrapped up and have a chain shirt over part of them at the moment.
So yeah, you say I rather like to something. What did you say, Neil?
He said I haven't stopped. He says I hope certain parts have.
He says, well, certainly it's going to be difficult to find help with others trying to rebuild their own homes, many being dead and whatnot. So I will have to consolidate some of the business for some time.
I will speak plainly. You are a fisherman. You fish. If I ever catch word that you are fishing and catching anything other than fish, I will be back. And your fate will be the same of your friend.
Roll an intimidation check. If you roll low, I got to quip. I got to quip.
Yeah, nice.
Yes!
It's like God has just decided, just like, screw you.
He says, I better be mindful of the eels in the water then.
I'm sorry, that might be a fisherman joke that I'm too poor to understand. I'm sorry, that doesn't... Eels. Right. Because you don't want to catch an eel. I get it.
Stabs him.
She considered it. Well, what was your name?
NPCW.
I'm going to give Scott a minute just to generate
Fine.
a name.
Tesh.
I'm going to give Scott a minute just to generate a name.
His name is Tesh, proprietor of the Headless Eel.
Fuck's sake. Why are you like this?
Because my
Just have a
parents.
name generator open.
Because my parents didn't love me enough as a child.
You were involved in a certain illicit trade, correct?
It's Julius. They're reminding me in chat.
Okay, good. I was gonna be like, oh, his name's Tesh. Is it Scorching Ray?
That name just gets me hot. Complimented myself and killed a bad guy. All right, go ahead.
Julius, okay.
You were involved in a certain illicit trade, were you not, Julius?
Allegedly.
I worship the Arbiter.
I've never heard of them.
Ellen here worships the Martyr.
Like her.
I am also fond of her. If you beg for forgiveness and swear that you will never take up your old ways, I will overlook your past.
Why are you here?
To judge.
You know what? I will actually allow another intimidation check on that one.
That was a really good one.
Yeah. That was a good one. Of course, you rolled like shit, but it's not a natty one. The number is a little bit higher. You're welcome to try to modify that if you'd like.
Oh, God damn it. Artie, why am I rolling like cack?
Let him sign his own death warrant.
Yeah, he better be afraid. Fuck.
But the thing is, somebody living and being afraid and somebody just being killed has different impacts on other people around.
I like the idea that if he goes to like, if Raymond stabs him,
like it, but
like
I want
cure, or is it cure critical wounds? It's like, yeah, you lived. You got stabbed, but you lived.
Go ahead, Neil. Go ahead, roll it. Go ahead. You know you wanna.
Nice. Two. Great. Fantastic.
Better than one.
Fantastic.
Okay. So you said I judge. And he says, then I guess I should spend some time at the nearby temple. Or shrine. Whatever. He doesn't say or shrine, whatever. I say. He says or shrine.
Can I sense motive?
Yeah, please, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, actually. I will do that too.
I would like to know.
You guys actually have to roll because you're not Jake.
Yeah, I would like to know if this is legitimate repentance.
Jesus.
Oh!
Did you see it tickle that one? Did you see it tickle that one?
God, guys.
Oh,
guys, I rolled a 13. Holy crap.
What is happening?
I clicked over and you only saw some old roll from. That's a Jake roll from forever ago.
3 over 10. Holy crap.
Anyways, so yeah,
what
you
happened to you?
Ilan, you actually legitimately believe him. You 100% believe what he's saying. Rayrin, of course, has a skewed perspective. So he does not believe him because he doesn't want to believe him.
If I believe him, I'm going to put a hand on his shoulder, and if he looks back to see like what it is, I'll just nod.
Rayrin would look back.
So then he sort of nods to indicate that he's telling the truth.
Rayrin would once again look at Julius. And he grinds his jaw. You can see like the jaw muscles going. Don't let me hear of you ever again. Not for anything like before. Don't squander this chance that the matter has given you. And then he'll draw the katana and take off the hand.
You guys can have an easy judicial system. You have Neil as the judge, Tesh as the jury, and Jake as the executioner. It's like, do you know why you have been called here? These are the accusations levied against you.
It actually does kind of work, especially because I discern lies as well. Even if it fails occasionally, that's still huge.
Yeah, but you're the jury, so you're going to find them all. You know, guilty, but not that guilty.
That's it takes a lot for Elon to find them guilty. Well, actually, no, that depends. There are some
Really,
instances...
I should have got Phaedril to eat that guy's eyes, shouldn't I?
Oh my god.
Moving on. So you guys...
Philip just shuffles him away before he does something stupid.
You guys end up leaving Forvin and heading to Harrod. Now, this is where it gets important because this is where you're actually having the big RP moment with everybody else. So when you get to Harrod, you go walking into the town, and you can actually see that once again, Harrod is actually maintained very well. But before you get to the town, my apologies, you happen to, as you're getting close, you're crossing get to the other side of the bridge. You notice that there are a small group of guards that are over there, but they're not wearing the same kind of clothing and whatnot that the others had. You actually see that there are a group of guards that are wearing what are they called? Tunics? Is that what I'm looking for? No, the one you put over your armor. It's almost like a skirt on both sides. Tabard. Tabard it?
Tabard.
Tabard.
You said tabards.
Tabard, thank you. Cool. So anyways, wearing a tabard, each of them wearing a tabard. The color of the tabard is this it's a combination of like a red and a gold kind of color. And you can actually see that there is a symbol of the martyr is on the clothes that they wear. So as you're approaching, they actually come walking up to you. It's just like, like, who passes? And then one of them's like, that's Ilan. That's Ilan? And it's, because clearly like one of them knows who you and the others don't. And they immediately walk up to you. He's like, sir, it's an honor to see you again, sir. I would like to report to you that we have been doing everything in our power to keep Harrod as safe as possible, as you had wanted for us to do, sir. I hope you are happy with the state of the town.
It's sort of like the panic look in his face that Rayron might notice, and then just, good. I'm glad to hear it. I'm here to see how things are going.
Well, we hope that you're satisfied with it all, sir. Now, we only have 4 guards on this side of the bridge because we do have more reinforcements not too far back, and we are, of course, working in conjunction with the city guard. Do you think that 4 is an appropriate number for guarding this side of the bridge from the undead?
Can I make a profession soldier check?
Go right ahead.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah.
Did you see it do it again? It
He
tickled
did it
off that
again.
113 a second
I
time.
cursed. Someone cursed me. Someone sacrificed their firstborn.
Like the dice are now trying to like, it's like going for that one, and then something's pushing it back to the other one because it wants to go for the one, and it's like, no, 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 no.
It's like it's literally the dice don't like Neil, but Neil's like forced to start to like gain power.
Yeah.
It's like, I have the
Blocking the ceiling.
sushi.
It's just the martyr. It's like, oh, no, oh, poor guy. Not again.
So
It's the DM fudging the dice to keep someone alive.
we used to have at my table, that one. We used to have a rule that if you rolled your die and it landed in a crooked area because it was like against something or whatever it was,
Yeah,
the rule was
dice.
yeah. The rule was wherever it was leaned against, you as the player are welcome to only touch that object to nudge it in the direction that you wanted. But sometimes it goes very poorly. It rolls away from what it was near and hits it like a one. But yeah, you can push or pull or whatever you want the object it's leaned against only. So, anyways, so and sloppy dice are always re-rolled. If it falls off the table, you don't take the floor roll. You re-roll on the table. But moving on. So, yeah, you make a profession soldier check, and honestly, you think that it is a perfectly fine number because they're more acting as scouts than they are as actual guards. You're not going to hold the battle against undead on that side of the bridge. You'd fall back to this side so you can bottleneck them like you once did before. So long as they're acting as scouts, 4 is more than enough. If they intend to fight on that side of the bridge, which you don't know what they meant, then that's a terrible idea. You need way more.
Rowan would look at Ilan for a moment and then interject and say, well, I watched Ilan here once fight undead. He started by having scouts to draw in the undead. He would draw them into a smaller area like the bridge and then face them in greater number when they were disarrayed. So, of course, following his teachings, you would be falling back on the sighting of undead and calling forward extra guards and dealing with them with overwhelming numbers.
After you finish saying that, the same person who was speaking would look to Ilan and say, who's that?
This is my friend Rayron. He's I fought alongside him a couple of times now against the undead. He is very capable.
Did you show him the ropes?
It's just like that look of, oh, yes. It's like that. It's like looking at Ray like, sorry. Yes.
Well, you know, it's important that you train as many as possible. I'm sure you have important places to be, but it was an honor to see you again. Honor to meet you. Honor to meet you. You know, others, of course, like nodding and bowing.
Up what I was asking of you. Well done.
Of course. I mean, we're only, as of now, 50 strong, but we're trying to get the entire city, the entire village on our side.
I will say, do not force anyone. I am very grateful and honored that you are doing this, but it must be voluntary.
In the name of the martyr, we would never force anybody. We would never force anybody. In the name of Ilan, we'll never force anybody.
Yes, I suppose they have to be voluntarily chosen.
This is like a little bit trying to like stifle a chuckle. Just thank you.
And you go past. Like I said, you would go into Harrod. It's actually holding up very well.
So we like take a couple steps past, and then there's don't tell anyone about this.
You know, the first night of drinking.
Yeah,
you're gonna have one walking up to you. It's one of those things where you're sitting at the table, one kind of is like walking past you, and he stops and does that like buddy shoulder grab, like shoulder massage, way too aggressive. So, Ilan, I hear you got a cult.
Oh God.
Anyways, so when you go into Harrod, it's as I described, but you actually see there are people patrolling the actual town. Whereas the city guard only patrolled the town when the undead were an actual problem, which they haven't been in some time. The city guard are actually outside of the town doing patrols and whatnot. The militia, right? But there's actually people patrolling the town itself. They're, of course, the followers of Villain. So the FOI. The FOI are patrolling the actual town. You, of course, do want to speak to the persons of interest here. The easiest person to go and find out, I guess, information from would be Joseph Tyler. That's the postmaster. They kind of handle like the council, so they like handle the word from the people, as well as kind of gathering the information about spy master, if you want to be so crude. But nothing that. And where they work actually happens to be literally they run the bar.
I also want to go speak with Jack.
You can go straight to Captain Jack too if you wanted to.
That's what I would want to do, but with Neil and so it's like when we break off, I'd go speak with Jack.
Okay. Well, because you can go straight to Jack if you wanted. I was just posing both options. Sorry.
What do you think, Neil, who's currently got his mouth full?
You can.
I would Raven would legitimately defer to Ilan. He has a higher standing in this town, and he's also been in this town longer.
In that case, yeah, I'd want to go talk to Jack first just to see how things are holding up and how things are going, and then we can go get more information from the postie.
So when you go speak to Captain Jack, when you go and meet up with him, you see that he's in a conversation with two other people. One of them is Luca Green. He is also wearing a tabard, similar to the others. Luca Green, you remember him from before. He kind of acted beforehand as like a bit of the warden of the place. He kind of like keeping the place safe and whatnot, and working alongside of Captain Jack as one of his underlings. But now the way that he's kind of sitting or whatnot, you can kind of see that the tone in the room is different. Clearly, he no longer sees himself as being an underling to Captain Jack, but maybe an equal or whatnot, right? So it's kind of an important thing to note. You also see that there happens to be somebody else in the room as well. There's a woman that sits there. Roll me an intelligence check to see if you recall who this person is.
Okay. Oop.
Oh, you wanted to roll a 1, but Tesh is now Neil. So it's like,
oh my god! That, on my screen, it's actually cocked.
Yeah, so it's your cocked.
Weird.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, that's hilarious.
It's like Neil and Tesh are now fighting back and forth for who's gonna
tug of war with luck.
So the woman, actually, when you see her, you actually remember her well. This is actually the woman that occasionally spends time with Melik. She is somebody who is an Idirian. You believe she's originally from Hod Gwen, but she actually spends time with Melik on occasion. Melik, of course, is not in town, as you heard, or at least Rayron did.
Archaeologist, right?
Yeah, he was the archaeologist buddy of yours that happens to also kind of work as like the magister / treasurer of this town. So you had heard a couple weeks ago that he had left to go handle something elsewhere.
Yeah. So
maybe she's kind of sitting in his place because she's a significant friend of his. So kind of like left her like so Jack wouldn't be without assistance.
So it was a friend of Melik. What was the other thing you said about her?
That's it. She's like from Hod Gwen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, from Hod Gwen.
Yeah. Her name, I don't know if I ever gave her a name originally. I honestly don't remember if I ever gave her a name originally. So we can give her one right now. Jake? What's her name, Jake?
Sally.
Sally.
Sally it is.
Honestly, 200% better than Scott's improv on names. Possibly 500%.
He beat it by about like 20 seconds.
And since she needs a last name and there's a request in chat, her name will be actually Lady Sally Triniton.
Oh.
Wait, she's a lady?
Yeah, she
like
actually.
A posh lady.
Yeah. Yep. She's very well put together. Melik's not gonna slum. He's not Rayrin. So anyways,
Rayrin's not classist.
So oh, how nice. So yeah, you go and you walk into the room. It's one of those things where as you walk into the room, it takes a moment and then, looks up and, Captain Jack. Which, by the way, we like Captain Jack, and his name also came from chat, just to be clear.
Good Captain Jack. There's so many Captain Jacks that I love, so this works.
Your name is Ilan. Ilan. Welcome home, he says.
Jack, it's good to see you again.
Hearing that you're here, you can actually see Luca stands up. Ilan, it's a pleasure to see you, sir.
Pleasure to see you too. And he's wearing the
FOI.
What did you call it? The FOI. Okay. Yep. He would just respond to that.
Sure, just respond. And Jack says, "Please come join us. Have a seat." And Lucas says, "Indeed, we would appreciate your input on the matter at hand."
Of course. I looked to Raymond, realized that Raymond said too. Okay, we'll go sit.
Raymond would ask you, say, "May I attend your meeting?"
Captain Jack, who has met you multiple times now, says, "It's not even a question."
He would nod gratefully. Like, it's a formality, but it's shown respect.
Yeah.
So when you sit down, Jack says, "You gentlemen look like you just came off of the road. Should I call for somebody to bring some food and ale for you as we continue?"
That would be fantastic. Thank you.
Of course, he looks over at somebody else that's kind of like there in the room, kind of handling the situation and handling them, and they will head out to go and get you guys some food and drink. It comes eventually, so whatever. But he says, "I'm glad you were actually able to join in because you, Ilan, know this town fairly well, and so your input on the matter, as Lucas said, would be appreciated. You see, we in Harrod tend to be, I don't want to use the word isolationist, because we're not lacking interest or trying to not get involved in other people, but we try not to be expansionist, at the very least. We have our town has served us well, and we serve the town well. Our numbers are swelling well enough, and we keep everybody safe. Where we are, comfortably, by our docks, behind our low walls where we have them, and so on. It's worked out well for us many years in the past through the war, which you," he says to Rayrin, "know all too well, and has worked for us during this plague of the walking dead that we've had to suffer. We have a comfortable life, and we look not to change it. Yes, but you're being short-sighted, Jack," says Luca, chiming in. "We're not exactly looking to expand and take over all of Idir. Nobody here has the interest of doing so. But for our people to live well today and to be able to prosper in the future, we can't just have the scraps that wash up on our shore from Hod Gwen. We can't have just whatever messes come flooding downstream, whether it be a season wherein the fish are plenty, or literal garbage covered in the shit from their sewers coming to our shores. We need to expand just a little bit to the west to actually claim a small amount of the area that touches the lake, so we can have proper fishing. The town that, if you want to even call it that once resided just to the west of here, is abandoned, all but destroyed. Nobody lives there any longer. The residents are either dead or have sought refuge here, and we've given them homes here. In their name, and in the name of all the people of Harrod, we can expand just a small amount to the west. We can take the docks that they have there, the homes that they have there. If the people that came from there want to resettle their old homes, they can have it. But we can stretch beyond and have a place to prosper much greater." Chiming in.
Are they talking about Forvin?
No. Actually, in that little hex there was actually a small little podunk town that exists over there. You guys maybe, I feel like I did describe it to you when you took a boat into Herod before. I don't remember if that was you guys or not, but it is along the border there, right as the river kind of like feeds into the mouth of the lake.
Oh, so like here.
Yeah. Moving, but it's like so small, it's not even worth noting on the map, right? So moving on. Chiming in, Sally does say, say, it would be better for the people to have access to the lake. It would be better for the people to have more commerce coming from it, while you do need to be cautious in how much you spread your soldiers thin. The followers of Ilin have been swelling in numbers. They're all very, very happily running to fight, running to battle back whatever dangers present themselves to, you know, keep them safe. And as a note to the followers of Ilin, it's a pleasure to see you again.
Pleasure to see you too.
When he returns, I'll be sure to inform Melik that you came by and sent your regards. She says, almost asking for your regards.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, yes.
And she smiles and nods. Rayrin, she says, giving you a bit of like a... She's sitting, but like a bit of like a...
Okay,
understanding your position.
This is out of conversation in the thing, so in meta. I know we eventually want to take Herod, but I feel like Herod's one of the places we can just absorb, because they seem to like us a lot, and eventually we'll get to the point where we can probably just absorb them as they are. So I think having them expand is fine.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Having them expand that way will increase the amount of trade they'd have with Loshev, which again increases our influence with them, if indirectly.
So do your characters, just to be clear, do your characters have an aside?
Yes.
Yeah, actually, you know what? Just a little...
I mean, we both know that, so we wouldn't say that necessarily in the side, but I think Rayrin would know.
Do I have message?
Doesn't matter, because message when you're sitting on a table around people like...
Rayrin would just lean over quietly and just say...
It's like when you text at a table to somebody else that's at the table.
That's true.
Everybody at the table knows what you're doing.
Yeah. I don't have message anyway, so it's fine.
Rayrin would lean forward and say, remember what we saw in Forven. There is a limited amount of food at the moment. We would not want the two towns to clash over what little remains. It would do well for them if they were warned of this ahead of time. Perhaps even, if they had excess food, it could be given to Forven. Say they have an exceptionally good week of fishing. The excess could be transported to Forven. It would be in keeping with the worship of the martyr.
That's true, thank you. And sort of connect the table. I think that would be a good idea. If it'll help the people. The only concern is keeping the people there safe and keeping Herod safe. But given that now things are at least starting to ease up a little regarding the undead, it is probably a good time to take that land and probably initiate at least some trade with Forvin and Loshev in regards to the food that you catch. If you have excess that you do not need, others may be in need of it. And it'll strengthen things here, both for the people and for your economy, but also strengthen Idir as a whole.
Before anybody else can speak, Luca chimes in and says, as always before and evermore, you truly are the face of the martyr.
Thank you. He has no idea how to respond to this.
He's just poem at you.
He did.
I think he just attacked you with prose.
Just like, it's like, you know, when you do the whole like really emotional thing to someone and then they're like, thank you. That's like what just happened. Yeah, yes.
So you Oh, yawn. Oh, sorry. It's so weird seeing my fingernails
That was a
painted.
fake yawn, wasn't it? You were just like, yawn. Look at my nails.
No,
I don't
this is
think I've
weird.
ever done like that. I guess I've gone like that to yawn to hide my mouth, but
Yeah.
I've never done that. But I just
No, it's
thought
because
of
he
it
started
then.
like this. He was like, oh, you can't see my nails.
Oh, are you eating your mic?
Sorry, I was actually yawning again. It was a big one. My apologies. I'm actually not joking. Actually, I'm yawning.
Anna, has Jake fallen asleep?
He's just praying to Vroga. He's a cleric, guys. You don't even realize the stress.
I imagine praying to Vroga is a lot more emotive than that.
No,
Involves
sometimes
a
you
lot
need to break the
smashing.
chains of your passions.
Damn it.
And you need to stop.
I need coffee. That's what I need. I brewed it, but didn't get it. I was kind of hoping Brittany would bring me. I was kind of hoping Brittany would bring me down a cup. No, that's fine. We'll finish up. So he says that to you, and then you're like, thanks. And Jack says, I kind of like hearing you sway in, and then how Luca immediately chimes in. Jack goes to say something, then bites his tongue and says, "Then we will put plans together to make sure that this is done in an intelligent and cautious way."
Can I sense motive that knowing Jack?
Of course.
Yeah, I wonder whether he has a reason.
Oh, that was almost a 19.
I mean, it's not a bad roll, but do you want to modify it?
What do we got? 2 left.
It's up to you, my friend. I've modified personal ones as well.
Yeah, no, I do want to modify this one. I want to see if I can. Fuck off! I've only rolled once.
It's such.
You just
it's the
don't.
worst.
Jack seems uncomfortable about something. That he's clearly not willing to reveal in the moment. You know what I mean?
I'll talk to him later personally.
Mm-hmm. So he says, do so intelligently and cautiously. We'll draft together a plan. Luca, this will, of course, greatly expands the workload that you're going to have to handle for the sake of defending. But if your numbers are strong, your people are trained, and you feel confident in it, then I don't see why we cannot continue to do this. And Sally, why don't you see if you can get together those that are handling the fishing now, as well as, of course, getting together perhaps some wagons for transportation. Get a plan so that when we do expand, we can immediately start trying to make as much money as possible off of this. Let's work to make this endeavor successful. We don't want to go rushing into it. Speak with all of your what's the word I'm looking for? The people that put you into place. Oh God, con. I hate when I forget words. Con.
The worst part is I don't know. I don't have an idea of what he's
Constituents.
trying to say.
Speak to your constituents. Speak to your constituents. Sorry. Speak to your constituents and make sure that we have a plan in place. We'll have another meeting in a week's time to discuss the plans and then, of course, plan further. I'm not trying to delay what it is that's been done. We have a vote, but let's measure twice and cut once. And everybody else seems to be. You can actually roll a sense motive on that one.
Okay.
Can I do it as well? I just want to get some of my bad roll juju out of my system.
Go ahead, of course. You're there.
Hey, look, it's that 13 that we've rolled so much.
Yeah, I'm getting that bad roll juju out.
Ilan, you can see that while Sally is like, that's amicable. I can go along with this. There's nothing wrong with that kind of a plan. You can see that Luca has that kind of look to him like, you're doing everything in your power to try to slow me down, aren't you? You're just twisting the knife in the opportunity that you have.
Sensing that, Ilan is going to say it's a good idea not to rush things, yes.
Okay, roll diplomacy. So you say that, and hearing the words come from you, and Luca would then turn to you and say, ever the wise one. Sorry for having questioning it. Thank you, Ilan. for your guidance.
You're welcome.
Questioning isn't bad. I would note.
Yes, I agree. Actually, it's always a good idea to know the. Sorry, let me word this better. It's always a good idea to question, just in case there's something that hasn't been thought of or something that was missed.
He says, I could string a necklace with the pearls. Sir, when you are done settling in from your time on the road, I would like to have an opportunity to meet with you personally.
I'd like to point out, not only was Ilan baffled by that one, I was baffled by that one for a second. I'm like, what?
I think it's something like you were sugarcoating. You're being nice to him, I guess.
Pearls of wisdom, I think, is the idea.
Yeah.
But yeah, it took a moment where I was just like, the fuck?
Boomer.
Anyway.
And then I would give that pearl necklace to my wife.
This guy like, Ilan is
look.
probably
This is where he just turns, oh, hey, sweetheart, and just coffee.
Ilan is genuinely creeped out by all this.
Oh, dear.
Okay, well, so he does ask to speak with you in private afterwards, if possible.
Which one? Sorry. Luca?
Luca.
Your fanboy.
Okay. Yes. I would say yes, but I also would I wanting to talk with Jack first, really quick. Then I will get on to a meeting with you. Is basically his response.
He says, obviously, of course, Sally, would you accompany me? And she's like, certainly. And she'll actually get up and leave. And as you guys are leaving, Sally will actually call back and say, Rayron, are you accompanying?
Ilan would give you a look like it's okay. I would like to have a private conversation anyway. So just like sort of like a nod.
Very much stand. Give him like a friendly pat on the shoulder. Try not to incite any religious violence. And then
I didn't quite hear what you said.
Did Ilan just dismiss Rayron?
We're of equal station.
No, Ilan didn't. The hero of Harrod did.
He doesn't mind letting Ilan live out his little power fantasy down here. No, I kid.
Oh, that's awesome.
Rayron said, "Try not to incite any religious violence," but he muttered it quietly.
Yeah. There's a reply that's like that sort of like it's a chuckle, but it's also like a I'll try sort of chuckle, just like oh god.
So we're gonna go stick on to Tesh, but for just a moment, Neil, when you go walking out with them, she actually does inquire little bits of information from you. She's actually like, I haven't had an opportunity to visit Hodgwen or really get word from them in some time. Kind of like filling in the status of what's going on there. How is the power transition happening? What are your plans for Hodgwen moving forward? So on and so forth. Again, she's was a lady of Hodgwen, but doesn't seem to be fighting against or arguing with the transition that's happening there. She's been physically removed from there for many months now. So it's one of those things where she's just curious what's happening back home before I choose to go visit. So I don't know how forthright you are, or
Rayron would begin pleasantly, not giving too much away. He might try some little driving ploys to see how she felt about the previous rule and its slavery. He'd also drop the nugget about the fight that the three of them had against the Horde, to see her reaction to that. It's all carefully calculated to see her reaction, see what she's like in comparison to other Hodgwen elite, quote unquote.
Yeah, sounds better then.
But he's also trying to come off as somewhat flattering, pleasant, that sort of thing. Nice, yeah, rolled a 3. He's also trying to make a good impression.
Yeah, no, she's just curious, happy to hear it. Sad that unfortunately friends and family of hers have perished, but she understood with what was going on, why the power struggle existed, so on and so forth. she's curious about the state of her estate. But she's like, honestly, I'd rather let things settle down there before I went and checked it out. Money's not worth that much. You know what I mean? Like, I'd rather live than check my bank account. So she's happily staying here. Blah 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 blah. You know what I mean? So she seems like a nice person. Just probably was caught up with all the craziness going on there. Her name does ring a bell. What did I say it was? Sally
Triniston.
Triniton.
Triniton, thank you. The name Triniton does kind of ring a bell a little bit. You remember it in all those ridiculous number of books that were written by Lady Grearis before. So the name rings a bell, but the details are lost on you because you honestly didn't read all those. You haven't turned to those or governance or anything like that yet. So you're kind of just handling the undead situation. But that's what you get. Back to you, Tesh. So you, sir, are, going, sir, to have a conversation with him.
Yeah. So first is, well, it's good to see you again, Jack. It's been far too long.
Likewise, and thank you.
So how have things been here since I was gone?
Safe. Genuinely safe.
Good. Good. I'm glad to hear that.
Since you last left, we've had 0 deaths and 1 injury thus far from a non-combatant.
That's fantastic.
Not to mention the delivery that we've had shipped down here of the medicines, should we come across those that are infectious. I was told that it came from, where's your nation called? Valoran, which is good. It's also assisted us as well.
That's very good to hear. Hopefully this plague is starting to get under wraps.
Well,
might finally be seeing the other side.
Very few are even able to make their way to us, considering that we have a veritable army, not too many miles away from the town itself, that helps to stem the flow.
Good. Now, I wanted to have this meeting for another reason. You seemed apprehensive during the meeting at the idea of expanding. Can I ask why?
We have lived a comfortable life for some time. Disrupting that just seems foolish to me.
I can understand that. And I'd definitely say expanding more than that would be probably not the best idea right now. But if you can keep your people fed and give you a good economy, I think it's worth the risk.
I'm agreeing to it. I'm certainly not giving any form of just simple lip service. So I am agreeing to it.
I also sensed a bit of tension between you and Luca.
He is recent to his role and has done a good job. The problem is, I think how good of a job he's done has gone to his head.
So I would sort of want to like discuss with him things that have happened and just okay, that's well then. Jack just freezes. Well, how are you guys going in chat? I can't really continue because I did it was roleplay with one other person who's no longer here.
I'm going to take a quick little break. Rory just came downstairs. So we'll be back in just 1 second, okay? Be right back.
Fair enough. Okay.